Hello, and thanks for coming back. Last time, we took a look at taking our survey data from our surveyor and getting it into our optimized DWG file for linking into Revit. I'd like to make sure that you're working in the same file that I am, so please make sure that you have open 04 Site plus Linked Survey. And make sure that you're in the floor plan view called Laser Scan Low. This particular file will allow us to explore a few methods that I've found useful for placing Revit columns into this project and getting them tied into the laser scan data from the surveyor. Now, Revit calls these columns. If you're working in structures, you probably refer to them as piles. So I may use the word interchangeably. To start with, go to your Structure tab and click the Column tool. And we're going to make sure that we've got vertical columns selected. We're going to make sure that our column is set to have height. And we're going to tie into the level called Laser Scan High. Next, we'll go ahead into our floor plan. We'll zoom into one of these columns. We'll also make sure that we choose the round timber column 12-inch diameter family that I've preloaded into this project. And then if we type the letter S and the letter C and hover over the edge of one of those red circles, we can place our column at that particular location. I'm only going to place one. And then I'm going to come over to the location where we have a slanted area and type letter S and letter C again and place it in the center of the red circle. And then I'll hit escape to finish out. So I've only placed two columns at this point. For this column over the red circles where they're vertical, what I'm going to do is use the array tool. So I'll click the array button. I'll type the letter S and the letter C to go from the center. And again, letter S and letter C, and click on the edge of that circle there. Now it's asking us how many columns do we want to have in this array. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that we need to have in this array. So we'll go ahead and type the number 8, hit enter. We've got 8 arrayed throughout there. The next thing that we'll do is select 1. This is after I've escaped out of my command. We'll choose 1, right click, select all instances visible in view, which selects all of the grouped columns. We'll go ahead and ungroup those. They're still selected, which means that we can array them again. Again, we'll start with keyboard shortcut to snap center of the first one, SC again, snap center to that one. And again, it's asking us how many. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll type the number 5, hit enter. And that goes ahead and arrays our columns. Again, one last thing we'll do. We'll select 1, right click and select similar, or select all instances visible in view, and we'll ungroup those. The reason that I'm ungrouping them is twofold. One, because it's an existing structure, I don't anticipate needing to flex the array of these objects. Two, we need to be able to attach the top of these columns to the bottom of our wood structure. Now, what about the slanted column? Well, in order to adjust it, we're going to go to the Laser Scan High view. And we've got our wood floor obstructing the view of our objects below. So if you select it, go to your temporary hide glasses and choose to hide it, we'll be able to see the red circle as well as the green. Now, we also need to change our view range to be able to see that column below. So on Properties of Review, you have to make sure that nothing is selected. Scroll down and click Edit for your view range. Here, we'll change the bottom of our cut plane to be -4 and the depth to be -4. Now we can select our column, and on Properties, look for the property called Column Style. We're going to switch from a vertical style to endpoint driven. Next, we're going to draw a reference plane. So deselect your pile, click the reference plane tool on your ribbon, type the letters SC again, click on the edge of the circle, and place a reference plane in that location. That will allow you to select the pile, hover your tip over the blue grip, it should say drag the column top, and then you can press and drag the grip to the endpoint of that reference plane. If you're wondering how come I didn't do the center of the circle, you'll realize that if you try it on your own, it doesn't snap to it. So now we've got our angled column. The next step is we need to switch the column style from endpoint driven to angle driven. Doing this allows us to extend the bottom of our pile down to a depth at which we estimate it to have been driven to, which means we could come on our base offset and type in -70 and see the column disappear down into the water below the land surface. And the benefit of this, setting it to the angle driven, is if the depth needs to change up or down, the angle of it will remain the same. And it remains locked into where the laser scan circles indicate that our pile should be at. Now, I think you know the rest of how to get the rest of the piles placed. You can either copy these around, or if you're dealing with a real-world scan, you'll realize that not every circle is placed concentrically around itself. They may be offset slightly. You would need to place each of these piles individually. It doesn't take that long, don't worry. I've done it many times on actual projects where there's hundreds of these, and it goes by pretty quick. So hopefully this helps you see how you can take laser scan data and get things created rather quickly within your Revit project. Whether the columns are vertical or slanted, you should be able to tackle either of these situations with grace. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.